So John Cena is in a little bit of trouble right now because he said that Taiwan was a country, something that China doesn't agree with and doesn't like. So he was essentially forced to apologize because of this. So what happened with him is he was doing an interview to, I guess, talk about the newest installment in the Fast and the Furious movie, which apparently there are 9 of them. It seems a little bit ridiculous to me, but maybe you like it, whatever. And he said that Taiwan is the first country that can watch this movie because it's coming out, I guess, in a month or so. And this sparked a lot of backlash from China because China's One China policy says that Taiwan is part of China. Now, Taiwan believes it's independent, an independent country, but China disagrees. And I do want to point out that at the moment, at least, the United States acknowledges China's One China policy. So technically, from a United States point of view, John Cena was incorrect in that Taiwan is not actually a country as recognized by the US. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think that he did anything wrong here, but a lot of people did, and so he was forced to apologize. So he backtracked, and he published this video apologizing to his Chinese fans, essentially.
你好，中国，这是赵西娜，我必须说现在。
Now, it is pretty cool. He knows how to speak Mandarin. I give him props for that. I'm not going to play the whole thing because obviously most of us won't understand. He says, I'm John Cena. In the middle of Fast and Furious 9 promotions, I'm doing a lot of interviews. I made a mistake in one of my interviews. I made one mistake. I have to say something very, very, very important now. I love and respect China and Chinese people. I'm very, very sorry about my mistake. I apologize. I'm very sorry. You must understand that I really love, really respect China and the Chinese people. My apologies. See you. So, you might notice in this apology, he never actually said what he was apologizing for. Now, the pushback was because, again, he said that Taiwan was a country and China doesn't believe that it is. But he didn't mention that anywhere in this apology. He just said multiple times, I'm sorry, I love you, I'm sorry. And obviously, this isn't going to go well. Like, just consider you're in a relationship with someone and you do something wrong, but you don't apologize for that thing specifically. Like, you just say, oh, I'm sorry. Most of the time, that won't cut it. You need to specify what you did wrong, apologize for that thing specifically. And so there were plenty of people who pointed that out and said that, this isn't good enough. This article from Newsweek has a few comments where people said things like, please say in Chinese, Taiwan is part of China. Otherwise, we won't accept your apology. Or, then at least say Taiwan is China's. You're avoiding the issue and talking nonsense. You can't benefit from the Chinese market and trash it at the same time. This reminds me a little bit of what happened a couple of years ago when you had Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, tweet out, fight for freedom and stand with Hong Kong. If you don't remember, this is when China was actively and aggressively cracking down on protests happening in Hong Kong. And it wasn't a pretty sight. It was difficult to watch. And they were being very violent in ways they obviously didn't need to. And he was essentially forced to apologize because the NBA, they have a lot of business dealings in China and they didn't want to lose money. Now, they lost some of it because of this. But here we see that money to the NBA was more important than pointing out human rights violations. And this is not a partisan issue. I mean, while this was happening, Ted Cruz denounced the NBA, but so did Beto O'Rourke, saying that the only thing the NBA should be apologizing for is their blatant prioritization of profits over human rights. And Julian Castro said something similar. So it's not as if only Republicans felt this way. It was pretty bipartisan. And yet the NBA, because they cared more about profits than about, human rights, they forced him to apologize anyway. And then LeBron James came on the scene. LeBron said specifically that, I don't want to get into a verbal feud, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand. And so many people could have been harmed, not only financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and do. Even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too. And then he kind of doubled down and said, I believe he was either misinformed or not really educated on the situation. And if he was, then so be it. I have no idea, but that is just my belief. And this quote, to me, is just so, it's ridiculous. You have LeBron James coming out saying he shouldn't have said that. I believe he's misinformed. Maybe he wasn't. I have no idea if he was, but I'm going to say he was anyway. Or if you want another example, how about how Disney filmed Mulan in Zhejiang province, where they're literally holding people in concentration camps, and then thanked them at the end of the movie for allowing them to film there. So I guess the point of this video is just to remind you that there are people and corporations who are more interested in their own financial gain than they are in actually standing up for what's right. Which I think is funny because we've seen for the past year this Black Lives Matter movement and now the Free Palestine movement, all of these things, they claim to really care about people, individuals, and stand up for them. But some of these same individuals are the ones who are completely fine with China, cracking down on Hong Kong and having concentration camps with weaker Muslims, all of these things. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, I'm not pretending that what John Cena said is the same as what LeBron James did, because it certainly isn't. But I don't think he should have apologized in the first place. And at the very least, if you're going to apologize, man up and say why you're apologizing. You can't just say a blanket, "I'm sorry, I love you guys." You have to specify what you think you did wrong. So John Cena apologizing has just made everyone upset with him. People like me are upset that he apologized in the first place, and people who support China and the Chinese government are upset that he didn't specify why he's apologizing and that he didn't actually say Taiwan is a part of China. So he's just made everyone angry. So that's why John Cena is trending right now. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.